On the news, Buhari inaugurates new NNPC board members, reads Riot Act. The United States warns federal government over use of Super Tucano aircraft. And fresh crisis hits APC as aggrieved members drag Buni to court. We're glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. President Muhammadu Buhari has ruled out a number of guidelines that the new board members of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company NNPC Limited must not flout. While inaugurating the board chaired by Margaret Chuba Okadigo, the president charged them to comply strictly with corporate governance principles, including making sure that they do business with the highest ethical standards, integrity and transparency. Beyond this, the president tasked them to focus on profitability and operate at par with their industry peers across the world.
The inauguration of this board is a major step in the ongoing transition to a more viable petroleum and energy industry that will attract investment to support our economic growth and generate employment to millions of our people. NNPC Limited is expected to strictly adhere to corporate governance principles that place premium on doing business with the highest ethical standards, integrity, and transparency. These are clearly required by the provisions of the PIA, the Company and Allied Matters Act 2020, and other enabling legislations and regulations. There should be full alignment and synergy between NNPC Limited, the Upstream Regulatory Commission, and the Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority in compliance with the provisions of the law in all respects to deliver the wondrous reforms envisaged for the energy industry.
On this part, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timi Silva, said a lot has been achieved in the petroleum industry, including the signing of the PIA, the registration of NNPC Limited as a Karma company, and the inauguration of the board of the NNPC Limited.
We are very much on course. As you said, this is a part of the milestones. The Upstream Regulatory Commission is in place. The Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority is also in place. Now the NNPC Limited is also fully in place. So I want to assure you that the process of implementing the PIA is fully on course. Mr. President also appointed the other members of the Upstream Regulatory Commission and the Midstream and Downstream Commissions. They too will come on board very soon. And then, of course, this segment of the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act would have been completed.
This limited, this new NNPC is like a new child, and we intend to grow it. We intend to mature it. We intend to take it to the international platform. Indeed, it is a Herculean task. But if you look around, you can see I'm flanked by able men and women.
President Muhammadu Buhari has pledged to assist Mali in every way possible within the ambit of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The president made the promise on Thursday when he received a special envoy for Mali's Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization, Colonel Abdoulaye Mega, at the State House. Buhari, according to the statement issued by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, said every country has its issues and even Nigeria had fought our own civil war, while adding that it is impossible to know the totality of the internal politics within Mali. The president also met with the head of the ECOWAS mediation team and former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, in the Pali at the State House. At the Pali, a special meeting of ECOWAS to further deliberate on the political situation in Mali was scheduled to be held in Ghana on January 9th, 2022. The United States has warned Nigeria that the use of the Super Tucano must comply with international norms as articulated in the United Nations Charter. The U.S. gave the warning on Thursday as the Nigerian military was set to deploy the Super Tucano aircraft in the northwest and north central after the federal government officially designated bandits in the regions as terrorists. But the U.S., while advising Nigeria, said the federal government should not deploy the aircraft in operations that encourage untraditional law enforcement role, which is under police authority. In an interview with newsmen, the acting director of Defense Information, Air Commodore Wap Mediga, alleged fear of civilian casualties during the deployment of the fighter jets against bandits is in the forest.
We went and bought some Tucano jets. Now those Tucano jets, we cannot use them because there are terms and conditions for the purchase. And that is tied into the Foreign Assistance Act of the United States or the Arms Export Act. You know, all these are tied into it, whereby you cannot buy something from America and use it on civilians. You have to use it on either terrorists or military. So this is the difference. In every conflict situation, there will be collateral damages. And of course, even the Americans know that there will be collateral damage, but it has to be very, very minimal. And that's why the precision of those Tucano jets comes into play, because they are so precise that they could even separate or decide to separate the hostages from the terrorists themselves. So there is no problem there. Yes, collateral damages are accepted, but like I said, they have to be kept to a very, very barest minimum.
The final decision of creating state policing in Nigeria does not lie with the president. This is submission of legal practitioner and the chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association section on public interest and development law, Monday Ubani. President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier in a television interview ruled out the idea of state policing in the country, saying it is not an option. Reacting to the development, Ubani explained that it is the responsibility of the National Assembly to make laws that can improve the country's situation, which is in line with the system of government practiced in Nigeria. He maintained that if the lawmakers see state policing as a necessary step to improve the country's security situation, then they should create a legal framework to that effect.
I think that the House is very important. In every democracy, when you have a National Assembly that understands its responsibility, they can change the political situation, they can change the economic situation with a legal framework that can put the country on the path to progress. If you see what other nations that are making progress are doing in terms of the quality of membership of the House, you know that that is an important arm that they cannot toy with. And that's why those people who are going there are people who understand this philosophy of governance. So we have all manner of people occupying that house, and that's why you see a whole president telling you that he cannot in any way disagree with the president. So which means he doesn't understand his basic responsibility, that there he is there to check the excesses of the executive. So I think you are right. It is the responsibility of the lawmakers to actually enact a law to give the country state policing. It's not the president. The president does not have any final say. He can only come in the issue of assent or declining assent. And if he does decline assent, they can override him his veto by 2/3 majority of the members of the House. So you are very right. We can also come up with private members' bill on issue of state policing. So I think it's something that we have to consider, from now onwards. Since the president has a different body language and does not want to restructure Nigeria, I think that Nigerians must come up together in order to know that the country can only make progress if we restructure Nigeria. We cannot make progress in the light of this particular structure, that the country is structured. We cannot make progress. The over-centralization of the policing system have not taken us anywhere. Nigeria is clearly insecure. Nigeria is not making any progress in terms of security. Nigeria is not making progress in terms of our bureaucracy. So the over-centralization is clearly implicated.
And now to politics. Some aggrieved members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, have taken the governor the Governor Buni-led caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee before a federal high court in Abuja over plans to hold a national convention in February. In the suit dated January 4, 2022, the applicant is seeking an order of the court to restrain the Buni-led CECPC from going ahead with the convention. They prayed the court for an order to stop the convention on the grounds that state congresses are yet to be completed in all the 36 states of the Federation. Joined as defendants in the suit are the APC, the chairman, All Progressives Congress, the caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Well, still on party politics, governors of the All Progressives Congress, APT, are set to meet with President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday to decide on the date for the February convention. Governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, disclosed this at the State House correspondent after a meeting with the president in his office on Friday. According to him, President Buhari has given an assurance that nothing would stop the APC from conducting the convention in February, hence the resolve by all the governors to meet and harmonize all interests on Sunday. Lalong added that recent remarks by the president asking the APC to put its house in order also informed his visit to the president, as he considered it a warning signal for members to sit up so that the party can conduct a seamless convention and not disintegrate. Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, stakeholders decry government excise duty on carbonated drinks. For details of the story and more right after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Now here is a reminder of some of our top stories tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari has ruled out a number of guidelines that the new board members of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company NNPC Limited must not flout. While inaugurating the board chaired by Margaret Chuba Okadigbo, the president charged them to comply strictly with the corporate governance principles, including making sure that they do business with the highest ethical standards, integrity and transparency. We also told you that the United States has warned Nigeria that the use of the Super Tucano must comply with international norms as articulated in the United Nations Charter. The U.S. gave the warning on Thursday as the Nigerian military was set to deploy the Super Tucano aircraft in the northwest and north central after the federal government officially designated bandits in the regions as terrorists. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. Nigeria on Thursday reported 791 fresh COVID-19 cases of infections. According to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC), the positive samples were reported across 13 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). Lagos State topped the infection chart with 523 cases, followed by the FCT and Oyo with 84 and 48 cases respectively. With the new confirmed cases, the infection toll has now increased to 246,195. Meanwhile, the fatality toll now stands at 3,066 as 8 additional deaths were recorded by the health agency. The World Health Organization (WHO) says the Omicron COVID-19 variant should not be classified as mild. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus said this on Thursday at a media briefing on COVID. Speaking at the briefing, Ghebreyesus cautioned that although Omicron does appear to be less severe compared to the Delta, especially those vaccinated, it does not mean it should be categorized as mild.
While Omicron does appear to be less severe compared to Delta, especially in those vaccinated, it does not mean it should be categorized as mild. Just like previous variants, Omicron is hospitalizing people and it's killing people. In fact, the tsunami of cases is so huge and quick that it is overwhelming health systems around the world. Hospitals are becoming overcrowded and understaffed, which further results in preventable deaths from not only COVID-19, but other diseases and injuries where patients cannot receive timely care. First-generation vaccines may not stop all infections and transmission, but they remain highly effective in reducing hospitalization and death from this virus.
I will take a break here, but still to come, we'll return with more stories and business. Just stay with us. Well, welcome back. Mary Kano is on standby on the latest in business. Over to you, Mary.
Well, thank you, Falashadi. Now in business, mixed reactions have trailed the federal government's decision to introduce excise duty on all non-alcoholic carbonated and sweetened beverages in the country. For stakeholders like the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, a tax of 10 naira per litre on soft drinks could have a tremendous impact on one of Nigeria's major sectors. Our correspondent Falashadi Ogurinde tells us more in this report.
Soft drinks, and a cold one at that, is a common feature in the Nigerian society. It's a working man or woman's non-alcoholic beverage to quench his or her thirst. It is relatively cheap and accessible, but not for long. Recently, the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, announced that very soon manufacturers of non-alcoholic carbonated and sweetened beverages in the country would pay a tax of 10 naira on each litre of soft drink produced. While the minister says the reason for the excise duty stems from health concerns, the primary factor is the implementation of a new policy introduced in the Finance Act, which was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2021.
There is now an excise duty of 10 naira per litre imposed on all non-alcoholic carbonated and sweetened beverages. And this is designed to, one, discourage excessive consumption of sugar in beverages, which contributes to a number of health conditions, including diabetes and obesity. But also, this new sugar tax is introduced to raise excise duties and revenues for health-related issues and other critical expenditures.
But not everyone is happy with this development. For the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, the excise duty on products from the soft drink industry is counterproductive to government's aim to improve the sector.
To increase the cost of production as well as impact on the disposable income of the consumer. Along the value chain, there are also people who are wholesalers, people who are retailers, before it gets to the consumer. So you are going to have to get the consumer paying more for the products they are getting.
Sellers of soft drinks said the expected increase in the cost price is bad for business, and customers alike have expressed dissatisfaction with the development.
We dey sell am 150. People no buy am. They're supposed to carry the market go down because everything too cost. Some say they no fit buy the market because it too cost.
Very unfortunate that the government is not sensitive to the plight of the masses. The soft drinks are the drinks that the common man can lay his hand upon, and the increase of any sort is totally unacceptable.
The soft drink is what most people use as appetizer during the afternoon. Like for an engineer like me now, I'm on site, working in the sun, sweating. We can just buy a cold drink somewhere. At least sometimes we take 3, 4 on the site. And increasing the distance now, we will limit the drink that we can take on site.
The 100 Naira people are not complaining, but I believe they will complain if mineral goes beyond 150 that we are currently selling it.
Surprisingly, experts say the 10 Naira per litre levy is too small to have any real impact on the sector.
So I don't actually see that 10 Naira as anything, that any cause for alarm. But you have to think on balance. Who is really gaining? The population is exposed more with the sugar-loaded carbonated drinks. So you could see a health hazard there in high diabetes and all kinds of things. And so the government has the health of the country at heart.
With a sale of over $1.63 billion in 2015, Nigeria's carbonated soft drinks market is said to have a potential of reaching $9.55 billion by 2025. Market forecast of the sector might however change if predictions of job cuts and revenue decline holds true. Folashade Ogrinde, TV360 News.
Still in business, recent data released by the Central Bank of Nigeria has shown that the federal government spent the sum of $1.68 billion on food importation from January to September last year. The Apex Bank revealed this in its report on sectoral utilization of foreign exchange for the third quarter of 2021. At an earlier event, the CBN boss had said Nigeria could produce enough to feed its citizens, while assuring that the government was ensuring the diversification of the economy. But we'll take a break and return with a review of the stock market. It has been 4 days of positive trading, a full week of the bull taking charge of the Nigerian stock market. Now, cherry picking by investors sees the market further its gains on the last trading day of the week by 0.57%, although there were sell-offs in major global markets as investors continue to position in counters amid cheap valuations. Now, ahead of a 4-year dividend payout, the rally was driven mostly by investors who bought shares of Cornerstone and Maya as they both recorded similar 5 kobo gains. Now, compared with the previous trading day, the activity chart shows improvements in volume, value and deals as 395 million volume of shares were exchanged hands in 3,923 deals. Now, at the close of trading, only 9 equities recorded losses, with Chi PLC and Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC leading the pack. Now, despite the few losses, investors are hopeful for a bullish year. Now, on the global scene, commencing the year on a mixed note, the FTSE, Dow Jones and Nikkei have not had a great week, as we see only UK's FTSE trading in the greens at 0.25%. Now, in what has been a rough week for Dow Jones and Nikkei, we see both stocks trading down at 0.11% and 0.033% as a result of mixed economic data. Well, that's all on Stock Market Review. Folashade, back to you.
Well, many thanks, Mary, for giving us the latest in the world of business. Now, on the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden has criticized former President Donald Trump, stating that he tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. Speaking on the first anniversary of the storming of the U.S. Capitol building, Biden says the country must ensure another attack never happens again. Onto the anniversary, Biden had mentioned the attack only sparingly, but he aggressively weighed in on Thursday and coupled his message with a call for voting rights legislation that Democrats have long been urging. Well, up next is Entertainment Reporter News Now.
The video streaming arm of Amazon Prime Video has signed a multi-year licensing deal with Niyi Akimolayan's Anthill Studios to distribute Nollywood movies on its platform. Anthill Production is known for major blockbusters including Elevator Baby, Day of Destiny, Prophetess, amongst others. Speaking on the new deal, Prime Video's Director of Content Acquisition, Ayana Lonian, has expressed optimism on the distribution of Nollywood movies to its audience. The Anthill deal, announced on Friday, comes just 3 weeks after Amazon made its first foray into African content, signing a multi-year licensing agreement with Nigerian production house Inkblot Studios. Nollywood actor Yul Edochie has expressed his desire to be the next president of Nigeria as he clocks the big 40. This is not the first time the movie star will be announcing his plans to run for the office of the president of Nigeria. He was appointed the senior special assistant to the Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano on creative and entertainment media. Edochie was also the flag bearer and gubernatorial candidate of the Democratic People's Congress in Anambra State. And that's all we have on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment now to sports. Tennis champion Novak Djokovic is appealing against his deportation from Australia, with the court set to rule on his application to stay in the country. Djokovic, a vocal skeptic of vaccines, had travelled to Australia after Victoria state authorities granted him a medical exemption to the country's strict vaccination requirements. But when he arrived in the country, the Australian border force rejected his exemption as invalid and barred him from entering the country. He has since been held in a government detention hotel. A court hearing on his bid to stave off deportation has, however, been set for Monday, a week before the season's first major tennis tournament will begin. Meanwhile, the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison has said that Djokovic would be on the first plane home if he is unable to provide evidence to support his requirement for a vaccine exemption. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade. Green Day. Bye for now.